Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome back to Stealth and SoCards. Today I have an interesting question. They're all interesting, but this one really had me thinking. The question is, if you learned you were going blind in a year, what are things you would want to see? I'm not one of those people who say, oh yeah, I still want to see the Grand Canyon and Mount Everest and the Space Center and all these things. I don't really care about stuff like that. I'm not one of those people who have a bucket list and say, yeah, I want to travel to A, B, and C. No. I think my stuff that I would want to see is far more basic. I would really want to have this sort of mental imprint of my wife. And if I would not be able to see her again, well, literally see her again after a year, that is something that I would really want to have imprinted on my mind. What does my wife look like? Aside from that, I really like the sight of warships. Not so much the older warships like 1945 era, but later than that. The modern warships with their sleek slanted angles, their radar reducing profiles, those are really, really appealing to me. Every now and then, especially when I'm playing Stormworks, I just look up designs for corvettes, patrol vehicles, or patrol vessels, ships, so like frigates, destroyers, stuff like that. How are they built? What do they look like? That stuff is really, really fascinating. So that's definitely something that I would be looking at. And something very practical, I would also spend probably a good portion of that year learning the Braille or Brendryen, depending on where you're from and how you pronounce it. You know, the finger touch reading, if you will. Interpreting your environment that way is something that I would definitely have to learn inside that year when I still would have vision. So practically, that I think is a skill you definitely want to invest in. Otherwise, you're going to find that the information intake after the year is going to be definitely a lot harder. I mean, sure, you have things like audiobooks. You can, of course, listen to conversations, but I generally do better when I'm reading something. I like reading books on psychology, social psychology, behavioral economics. Stuff like that is, as far as I'm concerned, best consumed by just reading. And that's something that I would not be able to do when I would be blind. Now, I know that there are, I think they're either e-readers or these e-ink things, which, like, you have a normal screen, but the screen creates the braille as you're browsing the book, basically. So this, I'm not even sure exactly how it works, but it creates this sort of contrast on the screen, where instead of just having a flat screen, you see these small dimples and dots and dits which allow you to actually read the book. So that's something I would probably be getting inside that year. Anyway, those were the three things that I would be coming up with. What are yours? What would you be doing, looking at, still wanting to see before you were going blind in a year from now? I mean, I really hope it's not going to happen. I don't expect it to happen. But who knows? Tomorrow you could be in a car crash. And you can have something poke up your eye and lose line of sight. There's the military aspect of my channel coming up again. You would lose vision. You would lose your eyesight. I really hope it's not going to happen, but what if? What would you want to see? Let me know down below in the comments, and I'll see you next week for more questions.